everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Aphrodite, aka Madam Suave. If you are new here, I would like to welcome you to the community. Be sure to check the description box below and like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to. Remember that energy is timeless and fluid. This could be past, present, or future energy. Flip roles if they need to be reversed. Only take what resonates, leaving the rest for what it's meant for. So the title of today's message, or at least what I am thinking I am going to make the title of today's message, is not the second or the third time, but the first time, okay? So many of you, you have a very high level of intuition, but you have had to face many devils in your life. You have had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way due to not listening to your intuition, okay? And you have been through many tests and many trials. And so a lot of these things that you have kind of faced, a lot of these things that you have had to learn, a lot of the things that you have had to learn the hard way has kind of helped to not only build your intuition and make it stronger and kind of strengthen your intuition, but also strengthening your trust in your intuition, okay? Having faith in yourself and your capabilities. And a lot of these things that you have been through and have had to learn the hard way were catalysts for your enlightenment as well as your spiritual evolution, okay? However, there is a situation, okay, maybe a recent situation that you have had to learn something about where you have it's a bit tough, okay? Maybe like tough for you to navigate. There's something tough for you kind of to digest here, something that you were not expecting. So for the situation that we are speaking about today, this could either be recent or this is past energy that is kind of not necessarily coming up again, but almost a reminder for you, maybe to remind you to, keep your faith because of all of the things that you have had to learn when you did not listen to your intuition, okay? Is one thing that I am getting. So maybe this is something that is resurfacing to kind of remind you and keep you strong and what you are being told, okay, or what is being shown to you. But I am getting that there is a situation that is either like very tough, or you are learning a very tough lesson, or you had to learn a very tough lesson either, like I said, in the past, or this may be present energy as well. So take it how it resonates. But this situation, and like I said, this situation could pertain to so many things in life, so you're kind of gonna have to know what that means for you. This could be either like relationships, and relationships, like I said, or we know that relationships, there are so many different kinds of relationships, whether this is romantic, platonic, familial, okay? But there is something that has left you with a sour taste in your mouth or a bitter taste, okay? Like I'm saying, this could be past energy. And so for some of you, you are kind of still learning how to rid of that. Remember, we had talked about, cleansing the palate. For some of you guys, you are still needing to cleanse the palate, or that palate is being cleansed. And in this, palate being cleansed, maybe you kind of are... Yes, it's almost like the taste is being lifted off of your tongue. Okay, the taste is being lifted off of your tongue, so maybe you are feeling it leaving you. And this may be causing some discomfort within the nervous system. Okay, so that is one thing that I'm getting. But I'm also getting, for some of you, this could be one of your gifts that you are tapping into, which is clairgustance. Okay, so clear taste. But I am getting that there was something very tough for you to digest, or something that you were slow to believe. But it's like as you began to digest whatever this information is, whatever you found out caused you to become sick to your stomach, okay? And maybe one of the reasons why you were sick to your stomach is because of the fact that it's like you already had this gut feeling, but you didn't listen to it, and then you became sick to your stomach. Or maybe, like I said, you were just having a very tough and hard time believing it, okay? This is someone who you made yourself available to be of service to, and someone who was hiding a lot from you. So like I said, this could be someone who is very close to you. And like I said, you have gone through so many tests and trials. You have faced a lot of devils in your life. And sometimes the devil is a little closer than you realize, okay? But this is something that you discovered after a spiritual awakening. Or for some of you, like I said, this was your catalyst into a spiritual awakening, into, enlightenment. And this was kind of part of divine intervention, okay? Divine intervention. Like I said, for my collective who I am speaking to, you have a very high level of intuition, which means that sometimes like maybe your intuition even scares you, okay? What you know scares you. And so what I am getting is that you were kind of trying to find the balance between being practical and trusting your intuition. But by doing so, this caused you to begin over analyzing your intuition, okay? So you were over analyzing the signs, the gut feelings, as well as your gifts, okay? And so this kind of caused you to miss some of the signs. And you guys know, when you begin to miss signs, when you begin to ignore signs, they start getting louder and louder and louder. And sometimes you have to find things out the hard way. It's almost like, so then you have to find out things the hard way, a way that you may not want to. Sometimes, it hurts a little more to find things out because you didn't listen, right? So it feels like more of a shock to you, more of a shock to the nervous system. I am getting that this was someone who was really close to you, who you least expected, or who you didn't think was capable of doing, like I said, whatever it is that, you know, happens. I did not dig too deep to try to figure out what that thing is, okay? So for you guys, you should know. But obviously, you know, we have been picking up on a lot of betrayal energy. Now, whatever that betrayal looks like is kind of up to you to know and determine. But this is something that you failed to notice because of how focused you were in your craft and in your life. So you were actually a little late in realizing this and understanding this because of how focused you were in your life, okay? Also, one thing that I was getting from the energy is that you're not really someone who is focusing on, you know, how people are, you know, necessarily like reacting to you or how people are necessarily feeling to you. Like if it's not something that is like smack dead in your face, you're not really paying attention to it. You know what I mean? If it's not like very obvious, you're not really paying attention to it. So this is something where it's like you're not going around looking for problems. And so maybe that is one of the reasons why, you know, it didn't seem, or like, remember how I said humility, okay? Almost a little too humble, so you feel like, you know, it's like, well, I'm saying, like, I'm just me. I'm just me doing me. It's kind of the energy that I'm getting, all right? But like I said, you know, this is someone who was close to you, and I don't know if maybe someone was going through like a tough time because we do have Saturn energy out, okay? So maybe someone was feeling a bit oppressed is what I'm getting, okay? And it's like they were reacting to that, but not simply like reacting to necessarily you or your energy, but just like this abundance of energy that you have, this abundance of energy that you carry. And so they wanted to break your faith and your focus, okay, for whatever reason. And I'm kind of getting that this is not something that necessarily you have to take personally. Maybe you are deciding like you're not taking it personally, or, you know, something of the sort, okay? Or maybe it's like your understanding of people is helping you not to take it so personally, and kind of like learning that maybe it has like nothing to do with you. Now that doesn't mean like you're taking it lighter, like you are kind of accepting of, oh, you know, no, that doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you in any way, but it just means that you're kind of able to move forward and move beyond it, okay? So like I said, they wanted to break your faith and your focus, but this was the wrong thing to do because it went against them, okay? Or it worked against them. You are a very multi-dimensional being, so you cannot avoid the truth, okay? You may try to avoid the truth, but you cannot avoid the truth because the truth always finds you, okay? So even if you like you're seeing signs, you know, you try to ignore the signs, they are going to be put blatantly in your face, okay? So when you try to ignore your intuition, it ends badly, but you can always feel it even if you do not know exactly what it is. So like I said, this is a signal in the nervous system. So it's like you know that you can feel something, you just may not necessarily know what it is, okay? And for some of you, this is a gift that you didn't come into realizing until later. And so it's like the more that you began to understand your own energy, to ground yourself in your own energy, the more you realized how much energy was not your own, it was not coming from you. And because like I said, a lot of you, like intuition is connected to the emotions, right? And so you receive a lot of your information through emotions. And so knowing what is your emotions and knowing what is not your emotions, or knowing what does not align with your timeline, that is kind of like how you are beginning to realize energy that is coming from like other places, okay? Or this could be, like I say, when you are getting intuitive messages, intuitive downloads. So you are constantly kind of like having to balance yourself. So you are no longer overanalyzing the feeling, but finding balance and pinpointing where the energy is coming from. I guess I already kind of talked about it, but yes. So this could be either you are doing like deep meditation, or like I said, constant grounding, okay? And you are allowing the energy to direct you as you remain in harmony, ridding of everything unwanted or out of place. So you are no longer waiting, and you are no longer afraid to move on what is foretold, because it is your protection, and you've seen what happens when you do not listen, okay? And things, like I said, they always end badly. And by listening to your intuition, by listening to your guidance of, you know, your spirit and your spirit team, it is clearing your way in decision making. You are moving on your knowledge, insight, and wisdom ahead of time to avoid pain and hurt. Because right now, okay, and like I'm saying, because a lot of you, when I'm saying, you know, you have, you know, maybe like some past energy arising that could be, you know, signaling things to your nervous system, or you feel people tugging on your nervous system, or you feel like, you know, your faith, your intuition is being tested. It's kind of like you have to remain focused on what you know at this time, okay? So because you have an overabundance of divine energy surrounding and flowing through you, so any disruptions are a signal for you, okay? Remember how I was talking about the tripwire, okay? Tripwire. So remain focused on what your heart is telling you, because there is lots of power behind your ideas, visions, dreams, and you need to trust your emotions as you maintain balance, okay? And that is the key. So you cannot trust your emotions if they are not in balance. And so the moment that you feel that they are coming out of balance, or the moment you feel like something just, you're like, where did that just come from? That is a time where you need to sit, reground, and rebalance yourself so that you can understand what is meant for you to be focused on, what is your energy and what is not your energy, okay? Now, I don't know if I already said it, but obviously, when your emotions come out of balance, then that's when you know that there is some sort of like trust that is lacking, or something of the sort, okay? Or your faith and trust is being tested. So, but you do have good manifestations coming in that is going to make you very, very happy, but you need to allow yourself to feel your way through it, both emotionally and spiritually, okay? Because obviously intuition relies on faith, right? And faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, which means you have to feel because you cannot see it, okay? And so you need to keep your field cleared, okay? Constant cleansing of your energy, especially if you are someone who does spiritual work, okay? If you are someone who does spiritual work, or you work with, kind of navigating energies of a lot of people, if you are an intuitive healer, etc., okay? You need to be constantly cleansing and clearing your energy because you are working with so many other energies every day. And so emotions can be hard to contain and can be unpredictable, but there is a lot of love and joy flowing to you. And I was getting that this is a waterfall of manifestations. So it's like one manifestation is going to flow into the other, okay? And I was seeing all happy smiles and happy tears, but right now you need to be still and solid, okay? You are going to be so happy that you kind of trusted, that you remained faithful, and that you kept believing in your manifestations once you see them, okay? And so yes, I'm saying a lot of happy smiles, a lot of happy tears. Now you might be ugly crying, but all in good faith, okay? All in good faith, and you're not going to be crying for any bad reasons, okay? So that is the end of today's message. I hope that you got something from this message. I hope that it was helpful to you in some way. If you enjoy my content, my energy, my channel, etc., I do ask that you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you feel called to. And I'll see you guys on next time. I love you all. Bye.